Welcome to Spirit School. I'm your mentor, Danielle Sarank, also known as the Squamish Medium. In this podcast, I share honestly all I have learned about the mediumship and spiritual development journey. My intention is to normalize these conversations, to make way for a more confident, clear, and connected wave of lightworkers, serving the world of spirit with an open and joyful soul. Welcome again to Spirit School. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Spirit School. Today marks the first day of Virgo season. She is here. My season is here. I grew up and my dad's birthday is August 10th. So even as a kid, it was like, I love my dad, but let's get your birthday over so we can start doing the countdown to my birthday. So I get 15 glorious days to count down to my birthday. I've always loved birthdays. I do get a little bit homesick during birthdays. I will not lie. It's been like that for me since I was a little kid. But at the time I'm recording this on August 22nd, it's my birthday in 4 days. So I'm very, very excited. I don't know, 41 years old. Cannot believe it. Still feel like 25 in my head, 50 in my body, but we're working on it. But yeah, Virgo season is here. I am so excited. It's been a busy summer. As you can probably tell if you're listening live, if you're listening back, this next 2 minutes may not make total sense if you're listening in the future. But of course, the podcast has been slightly inconsistent this summer, as you know, we tend to be outliving our biggest, most expensive lives in the summer. I got little kids. It's summer in Canada. The weather's finally nice. We've been in a heat wave here. So just getting outside as much as possible and having shorter days to work because of the camp schedule. But this week I have 3 podcasts that I'm recording. So this is going to be the first. And I really wanted to share with you some lessons that I've been sharing in the Spirit School Collective. So in the membership, the Spirit School Collective, I've had it for over 3 years now. Apparently I don't talk about it enough. According to a lot of the people who are advising me and longtime listeners, what, you have a membership? I do. And I have mentioned it a few times. But the fun thing that we have been doing the past few months is we have been focusing on a topic that supports lightworkers in a holistic way. And I have been dropping different audio lessons in correlation with the theme of the month. So last month being Leo season, we focused on being seen. So I gave 4 different audio lessons with different philosophies and visualizations and techniques and just spiritual contemplative thoughts on being seen, and asking Spirit School Collective members to maybe look at stretching themselves. And so I wanted to share one of these audio lessons here today on the podcast, so you can kind of get a sense of not only what we do there, but how I show up in these spaces. Because if you love the podcast, I am committed more in the collective to giving more content that helps support lightworkers in a holistic way. So yes, practice and training are foundational and the core of all development, but I also want to talk about spiritual growth and personal reflection, as I do think that the development path is also a healing path. So each month I've been focusing on a different topic to provide content for, and the reviews of it have been really positive. So I wanted to share a bit of it here because this is also why I haven't been podcasting as much, though the podcasting will become a lot more consistent come fall when the kids are back to school. But if you love my podcast, you're going to love these audio lessons. I've been doing a lot more of them in my programs and stuff as well, because personally for me, I love to learn on the go, and I just have so much to share. And sometimes because there's so many people that listen to my podcast, it is easier in spaces like the collective where I know people's names and their faces and I know a bit about them and what their goals are, and I've been able to witness and see them progress. I'm just able to share in a deeper way there. And so I wanted to try to translate that a little bit on the podcast and just see how it goes and see how you guys resonate with it. But we did our monthly theme last month of being seen. I gave 4 audio lessons with different assignments every single week. We had the divine timing of it all. This week in the podcast, I'm going to be sharing with you the lesson on spiritual self-esteem and allowing yourself to be seen. We also had a lesson on your biography becomes your biology. Just so many lessons that are basically things that I think about in my mind when I'm alone. And I finally have like a place for these thoughts to go. So this month in August, because it's Virgo season, we are focusing on being of service. So the lessons have been geared towards like your offerings and how you want to show up in the world, the language that you use. And so all the lessons are curated to be towards that theme of being of service. And then of course, next month, we are going to be focused on the theme of being balanced-ish. Now, if you are a mom or a parent in September, it is kind of like a New Year's for kids. I mean, for parents, because kids are going back to school. And I know in the States, some of your kids are going back this week, but everything kind of gets thrown out of sorts when we head back to school and a new routine comes in. So I want to try to provide different templates and lessons and different ways I keep myself organized, being a mom of young kids, a business owner, a wife, domestic engineer, essentially. And so I want to share some tips on how I stay organized, how I prioritize, how I reorganize, how balanced is an illusion. And every month for the year, we're going to have different themes every single month. And not only are you going to get the practice opportunities, but also different lessons and swipe files and collateral curated towards the different themes. So I'm just going to share a couple of the themes that we have upcoming over the next year. And then I'm going to share with you the audio lesson, which I hope will be helpful for you. And it's on your commitment to self, building spiritual self-esteem, and allowing yourself to be seen. And it has a beautiful visualization at the end that a lot of people felt really supported by. So I'm excited to share that. So the monthly themes for the next year. So in September, we have balanced Well, fall, the season is dedicated to sacred human. So everything that we talk about will be based off of our sacredness and our humanity. So we're going to be talking about balanced-ish, sacred ritual, and healing the healer. And then in winter, it's going to be focused on empowering the Lightworker. So we're going to have the refined Lightworker, the psychic AF Lightworker, which we're going to do psychic investigations and different psychic related skill set development and philosophy development. And then we're going to have the confident Lightworker in February. In spring, it's all on angels and ancestors. We're going to do mediumship, angels, and animal alchemy. So that's pet communication, animal communication. And then next summer, we're going to do the magical Lightworker, which is abundance as a birthright, manifestation month, and playing on purpose. So every single month, we're going to have like a different topic that guides us through that holistic journey of development. And of course, in the community, we have weekly practice pairings. We have different practice circle opportunities that are led by me. And so all I wanted to share today as part of this episode, because it feels like forever since I've recorded one and it's kind of like ready to go, I wanted to just share one of the audio lessons that I drop almost weekly in the Spirit School Collective space. And so, yeah, I'm excited for the next week. We have our annual sale happening. We only do it twice a year, where I offer an annual membership. I only offer that 2 times a year. And if you join the annual membership, you get one of the rounds of the initiation for free at any time during the course of your membership. So there's that. I am recording a podcast later this week on grief and ways that we can show up and support people in grief. So that is a podcast I'm currently working on. And then the Psychedelics podcast episode is coming out next week as well as your spirit messages. So there's 4 podcasts coming up that are going to be very different, but all on areas I'm very passionate about. And I will say that I have noticed on Spotify for podcasters, there have been some questions and comments left. I am still trying to figure out how to access those. So bear with me. I am not ignoring you. I am trying my best to figure out all these different systems, but I do notice that most of my podcast listeners are on Spotify. And so I want to be able to engage with you there. So just give me a beat, give me a minute, and I will figure out how to find those questions and how to answer them. But for now, please enjoy the audio lesson on being seen, commitment to self, a pathway to spiritual self-esteem. Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 3 of being seen here in the Spirit School Collective. I got my podcast mic now, so hopefully you'll be able to notice a difference with the sound quality with this audio lesson. And I'm always looking for more creative ways to deliver different types of content to you guys. So thank you for participating and listening this far and letting me know if it's impacting you or not, or if you're finding the lessons valuable for you. And this week comes with a different type of homework assignment, and we're going to do a little bit of a visualization at the end, which will definitely be able to support you on this week's assignment, I believe. But this is going to be more about committing to yourself. I'm going to start a little bit going back, but I don't want to focus too much on the past. But for those of us who have a harder time allowing ourselves to be seen, there usually is a good reason for it. There usually is a reason why it's uncomfortable for us to stand in front of a room, to speak up, to be heard, be seen in bigger ways than we are accustomed to. Now, a couple of years ago, I was very blessed to be able to have somebody invest in me launching a podcast. They financially supported me in buying a podcast mic, getting a laptop, learning how to podcast, and they invested in me launching that podcast. And I remember being really emotional about that and being in the shower and asking the world of spirit. I was just so blown away. Somebody believed in me that much that they would invest in my podcast. And so I kind of started crying in the shower, and I started asking spirit. I was like, what do people see in me I just cannot see in myself? And this was obviously back in 2018. I came out of the shower. The world of spirit asked me to take a seat, and they took me on this visualization journey back to when I was 6 years old, and I encountered my first ever bout of stage fright and the disappointment I felt from my family when I chose not to go on that stage. And I really wanted to avoid that disappointment feeling. They say for females in particular, disappointment is one of the first emotions that we feel that is negative, disappointment. And so I really did spend my life, I could see from when spirit took me back to that initial experience, I could see how I avoided making any commitments to being seen because I really wanted to avoid disappointing other people and in turn igniting a feeling and emotion of shame within me. So I spent most of my life up until launching my podcast essentially trying very hard to be in the background, but trying very hard to be the person who supported the main character. I was never a main character, and I never wanted to be. And so spirit did show that awareness to me, and it took me a while to accept that. And I can see the dynamics continue to play out in me and my family. They haven't changed that much, and their role in this great theater of life still continues to be one that activates me and has me have to look at why I'm activated and what's being asked to heal here. So we're still in this cycle, and I'm having to choose differently all the time and make commitments to myself that help me step more into my confidence. Now, when we talk about making commitments to ourselves, and by making commitments to ourselves that we actually keep, this is how we build our spiritual self-esteem. This is how we build our confidence. If you go to the Development Vault, there was a wonderful class hosted by my public speaking coach, Danielle Benson, and it was from stage fright to stage joy. And she even talks about this, and this is where I got that teaching from. But the only way to gain confidence is by doing the thing. A lot of people hold on, they wait out, they hold out to do the thing to be seen until they feel confident. But the confidence is actually what you get as a reward on the other side of stretching yourself, on the other side of putting yourself out there. And one thing I want you to accept before we go into making micro-commitments for ourselves this week, I want you to accept fully that you cannot control how you are seen by others. But you can control and choose when you show up. But you cannot and never will be able to control how you are seen by other people. You could be completely flawless and you can activate someone because we just don't know what people have been through. And somebody may not resonate with what we're saying, even though 100 people do and one person doesn't. There's always going to be one person that doesn't. And I know for myself, one of the reasons why I personally was scared to make myself incredibly visible was, one, I didn't want people digging into my past, but now I'm very open about my past. I'm very vulnerable about it. So that takes away their power right there. I'm like, well, I'll just say it out loud. I'm not like pure and like I've messed up and I've made bad mistakes and here I am being a psychic. And that was my number one fear of being known in this work, was having people like dig into my past. So I decided to take that power away. I'm like, I'm going to just talk about it because it is part of who I am. And it does actually support me greatly in the mediumship that I do. I'm not spiritually superior. I am somebody who is unfolding spiritually. And over the past 10 years, I've unfolded beautifully. And I can't wait to see what the next 10, 20, 30 years brings me on this path. And so the only thing that we can do is accept that there's going to be some people that don't get it. And that's no reason not to show up. If you can focus on the dozen or multiple dozens of people who will get it and who will love it, then that's all that really matters. So maybe as I'm talking, you can come up with something in the past that gave you real legit reason that you felt unsafe being seen in big ways or even little ways. And I don't want to spend too much time going to the past, but I wanted to bring it into this conversation because I am not someone who's going to be like, just put yourself out there, just trust me, it's going to be great, because we all have very different lived experiences with this. And I can't provide a blanket experience that's going to work for absolutely everyone. But the two truths I've already spoken to, or I guess it's three, is one, there is probably an experience you've had in the past that gives you good reason why it's nerve-wracking putting yourself out there and forward, right? We know that building confidence and making ourselves feel ready and prepared to do this comes after doing the thing. And we can't control how other people see us or how we're seen by other people. But we do get to be empowered about when and how we show up. And this is how we build spiritual self-esteem. This is how we heal our self-worth. And this is how we become more confident and connected and clear light workers. So your challenge this week is to come up with a list. After you listen to this, just sit and journal and come up with a list on different ways that you can show up in small ways this week, every day. Every day, I want you to do something that makes yourself visible. And I'm just going to give you a few examples because I'm certain you guys will be able to come up with more incredible examples. But maybe, and again, it's a spectrum, because for me, like going on Instagram Live is so easy. For other people, going on Instagram Live is like the big thing. So it's on a spectrum. So you have to identify for yourself what pushes you and stretches you that little bit, because we can't forget that I'm asking you to do micro things, because I want to show you that doesn't have to be big and grandiose. You can do multiple smaller things, and thanks to the law of the compound effect, it will continue to grow. And what you will notice is that there will be massive growth at the tail end of multiple things. They compound and they become a big thing. So I want you to pick at least 7 different ways for 7 different days, so one thing a day that you can allow yourself to be seen a little bit more visibly. Maybe this is a post of your face instead of posting, a stock image, or maybe this is putting your hand up at a work meeting and voicing your opinion. Maybe this is in your family saying, no, I want to do this instead. Whatever it is for you, it could be related to your spirit work, which I think would be smart since this is the community that we're in. Maybe it's sharing something personal, or maybe it's sharing a lived experience that you've had. And maybe it's checking out a new platform. Maybe it's signing up for like TT now because you're like kind of over IG. Who knows? It's up to you what these micro things are that allow you to be seen. Maybe it's starting a newsletter or pulling a couple cards or doing live readings on Instagram, because you are all in very different spaces. So you have to discern and decide for yourself what is that stretchiness. And how I want to spend the later half of this lesson is just going through a bit of a visualization that will help you get a little bit clearer on what you want to talk about. Because I think for some of you, you're like, I don't even know what to say. What am I going to talk about? So let's get clear on what you really want to talk about in this current phase and season of your life. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, start connecting in with your breath, thinking of something you are incredibly grateful for in this moment. Feeling that life force move through you as you tune into that breath, such a gift, and that sense of gratitude. And I want you to start seeing light surrounding you. This is your light. Just filling the space around you. Your physical features starting to dissolve into that light, fully blending in the truest essence of yourself, that light. And allow yourself to have your vibrations raise by allowing yourself to float up with this light. And you start to hear multiple voices that are excited, people in excited, engaging conversations with one another. It almost sounds like a party. And as the light starts to fade away, you are met and greeted with a room full of people who clearly know each other. They clearly know you. And they're actually here to see you and hear from you. As you find yourself standing in the front of a room, knowing that you're just about to speak, as everyone turns and gazes towards you and smiles and finds a seat. You recognize some of these beings in this room as your spirit team. Some may be somewhat strangers, but there is a soul knowing that everyone in this room knows you and your work in some way. And as they take their seat and you stand before them and you catch your breath and you shake your arms out and you anchor into the presence of this moment, you start to speak. And I'm going to leave you here while you share what is coming up from your soul in front of this room of people who came here to see you today. And I want you to see everyone starting to give you snaps and claps as they're hearing all the important things you have to say from your spirit. And you're starting to feel more confident and in your power in front of this beautiful room of people. And you blink for 1 second. And as your eyes open again, the audience has changed. And before you, you see every version of your past self, every age. One of those versions of yourself in every chair in the room, watching you. From your toddler self to your last year self. This room is filled with every version of you smiling, watching you, listening to you, beaming with pride that you did it. You see green surround every version of this self, receiving healing as you step into something that you desire to do, speaking words you desire to speak. And by doing so, you can visually see how this is healing your past, just by moving forward on your path. As you wrap up your speaking engagement in front of all these versions of yourself, you exchange smiles with every one of these versions of you. You say thank you. You did it. Thank you for your wisdom, for choosing to continue courageously. And you see as angels start to surround you and all these aspects of yourself, filling the room with light once more. All these versions of you blending back in with the light. As the angels start to carry you back down once more to where you currently sit. Connecting in with the breath once more. Filling your body with that light you just created, replenishing you, bringing you back down to earth. Welcome back. Before you look at the camera or the computer, take a look around your space to orientate yourself back into the here and now. Start journaling the things that were coming out of you, the things you were talking about. Those are clues from your soul on what potentially you could show up this week for and what potentially your body of work will unfold in the next little while. I want to thank you for participating in your own spiritual growth, because when you grow, we all grow. Your growth is for the collective, not just the Spirit School collective, but the collective of humanity. So thank you for dedicating this time and effort to your own evolution. Bye, friends. So I hope you enjoyed this lovely visualization and audio lesson, and I hope it gives you some better insight into how deep we go in the Spirit School Collective. Again, if you want to come try out the community for a month, there's no commitment. You can join and cancel absolutely anytime. Just follow the links below and just know that the future of Spirit School Online will be very much about the Spirit School Collective and the membership. So I'm very excited to talk about it a bit more with you, and I hope that you have a good sense of all the amazing things that we do there. I will see you next time on Spirit School. Did you know that Spirit School is not just a podcast? It's an actual school. If you go to myspiritschool.com, you can invest in self-study courses, live programs, and of course the Spirit School Collective, my baby, my monthly membership community. All Spirit School offerings are intended to get you feeling clear, confident, and connected to your spiritual path, your development journey, and of course connected to other spiritual curious souls who are having similar experiences to you. I hope to see you in Spirit School.